If you listen to the critics, if you listen to your own doubts and call them reasons, you may never find the drive to go back to school. But a little change in direction, a new perspective, and the right program may make your successful new path a reality. The Accelerated Degree Program at Albright College. Start your degree or complete your degree one night a week in as little as 2 years. Albright College. A different way of thinking.
Good evening, and welcome to the Albright Scholar for September 2016. My name is John Pankratz, and each month it's my privilege to welcome BCTV viewers and residents of Greater Reading to take a glimpse inside our learning community up here on North 13th Street, to look at the work being done by teachers and students, and to think about its impact on all of us. Well, a new school year has begun, and it's become something of a tradition here on the Albright Scholar to extend an invitation to you, our viewers and residents of Greater Reading, to take advantage of some wonderful cultural opportunities coming up on the Albright campus. And I'm here with two of my dearest colleagues, Dr. Jeffrey Lentz, Distinguished Artist in Residence at Albright, and David Tanner, the Director of the Center for the Arts at Albright, to talk about the upcoming season in the arts. A whole panoply of events in the visual arts, in music, in theater, in dance, and other cultural events as well. So lots of creativity to participate in and to view and to appreciate. Welcome, guys.
Thanks for having us back.
Good to see you. And we've brought along some brochures as well, and we can talk about those too. We'd invited a couple of our other colleagues, Erin Riley Lopez, the curator of the Friedman Gallery, our contemporary art gallery at Albright, and a brand new arts professor, Brian Glaze, a sculptor and really an artist in multiple media, who has an exhibit up currently at the Friedman.
Yeah, currently. And it's a really interesting show. His work deals with found objects that he manipulates by including either sound processors or some type of video projection.
As you talk, we'll even show some pictures of Brian and his work.
Yeah, and really his themes deal with these old found objects like gas cans, things like that he's manipulated, and how technology has transformed them, and repurpose them, things like that. But there's this whole play of, the forgotten and what has been kind of excluded because of technology, and how it's repurposed is important to his practice. So it's worth seeing. That show is going to be up through the end of the semester in the main gallery, but there are several smaller shows, including the current mural project that's in the project space, which kick off Friedman at 40.
And here's the mural so far.
Nice.
This is an invitation, the Friedman Gallery, which is really one of the most distinguished contemporary art galleries attached to a liberal arts college in North America.
Right.
And it's now 40 years old.
It is.
Named for Albright's great alum, Doris Channon Friedman,
right.
Who's the director of the Public Arts Project in New York City. And this mural is a view of the Center for the Arts, but with interventions from multiple students.
That's right.
An alumnus, Brandy Lager-Marcino O'Neill, created the concept, but she's got lots of collaborators.
She does, yeah. That's the whole interactive part of it. So, and not just students, but visitors can actually Zendoodle a portion of the mural and become part of our 40th anniversary celebration. So it's a really fun way to participate, and even if you aren't really an artist, you can doodle. And she has illustrations to kind of help you and guide you. And it's a really fun project to kick off what will be several exhibitions and projects that celebrate our 40th anniversary at the Friedman.
How fabulous.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, the artists that have shown there are really a who's who of American contemporary art.
They are, in fact,
over the last 40 years, so it's a wonderful tradition. and a great place to hang out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have lots of accolades across the arts, and of course, as we know from last year, a national award, another national award for our theater program. And I am confident that we will have more awards this year as well. We'll kick off our season actually with Doubt, a parable by John Patrick Shanley. And that's going to be directed by one of our students, Alexis Janofsky, who is a senior this year. Did you just show?
Alexis right there.
Yay. She's probably hard at work right now.
She
in
is.
rehearsal.
Oh, there's rehearsal right now.
She's in rehearsal right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is a well-known play. It won awards when it premiered on Broadway, but it was also turned into a film.
Yes.
With Philip Seymour Hoffman and Meryl Streep.
That's right.
Yeah.
Amy Adams, all of that.
So it's a play that will leave people thinking and talking, and which is really our aim in the theater.
Absolutely.
It's not merely entertainment; it's always engagement and
Right.
provocation.
We always think very hard about what's the right show to open a season with, and we don't always pick a piece that's this dense.
Right.
But it was perfect for Alexis as her senior honors thesis project. Because she has such an interest in theater for social justice.
Yes.
Right, and so the idea of having this story about the tension between a nun from a more traditional, tradition, if you will, old school tradition, and this younger priest, and the tensions that come with that, and the accusations that come with it that don't have any proof. That this was a piece, the subject of which Alexis really dug into, and she's able to work with student dramaturgs. She's lucky enough to have Cocole Bernal doing the visual design for the piece. Do you have
pictures of that too?
Yeah. Once again, Cocole has sort of outdone herself with these huge panels that you're seeing now. That's one of the 5 panels. That's a panel of roses. Now that will ride vertically about
yes.
14 feet in the air, and that accompanies another photograph in the garden, if you will. And this is a picture of some young boys in basketball outfits. Again, this will be hanging straight into the air, right? Who are members of this school that the priest and the mother superior, if you will, the principal of the high school, are both work at. So they both, Alexis and Cocole, chose sort of psychological space, and with Cocole, she's beginning with sort of iconography, and how can I tell this story with several pictures, and those images will remain sort of burned into the audience's retinas as they watch this story get deeper and deeper. And I think they then take on a different feel to them. There's a great tension of opposites in the design. And Alexis has chosen to play the piece on a circle. The actors will never leave this center circle on which these panels will sort of glide in and out of. A challenge for a young director, and we actually just had a meeting right before this. All the panels are up. Everything's ready to go. So she's got all of the people that will help her manipulate the world. They're going to work all night and then all tomorrow night to find the transitions between the scenes, to have that sort of visual symphony going on. And so she and I have had a good time thinking about the language of the world and whatnot. So it's been fun.
Alexis, of course, is well known to the Reading community.
Oh, absolutely.
For 2 years, she's worked with the Olivet Girls and Boys Club downtown. She directed James and the Giant Peach this past summer and Shrek the summer before. So theater and social justice, but theater as community service as well. She's really been a star in that regard. What else is happening in the theater?
Well, after that, we're going to have a new piece, and it's not a sort of coming from the person who doesn't write traditional plays either, but we're having a sort of a sketch comedy evening called "Make Democracy Great Again," sort of compiled by my colleague Dr. Matt Fotis. He will be auditioning that
Tonight, I think.
Actually, yeah, I think it's
6:30
tonight
he did.
that they were auditioning, putting together a team of people that will work the way that you might work on SNL or Jon Stewart, and fuse current events and news about the election cycle, and begin a comic conversation in the theater, and that actually is going to open and only play 1 week just before
the weekend
election.
before the election.
Right.
So, so I guess it's yet to be determined whether this is a comedy or a tragedy.
Or a comedy of errors.
So I'm sure they'll grab all of those aspects of it. So we have that in November, and then
Can I just say too, I think what's interesting, and we often do this in the gallery as well, because a lot of times when there are two shows in the gallery, the conversation between the shows also is interesting, and and Doubt, which is the first show, and the conversation that it will have with the second show may not readily be apparent, but the whole theme of character assassination and things like that, I'm sure will come up in this second show in meaningful ways, and I'm really excited to see how the dialogue between the two shows is actually going to play out, because I think that's going to be very interesting as well.
Yeah. I'm teaching a first-year seminar on heroes and villains, and I'm inviting them to, or requiring them to attend both.
Oh, I think that's great.
Plays.
Yeah, I think that's really great. I'm sorry, I didn't mean
No, and there are resonances between Brian's work, the tension of opposites of old and new, with the characters, in Doubt. There's lots of places for us to find these synergies between the ideas of these artists in different fields. And for the theater, then in February, we have Lynn Nottage, who Reading audiences might know because of a recent play of hers called Sweat, which is set in Reading, which is sort of sweeping the regional theater scene right now. Buzz is that it's sort of on its way to Broadway, we hope, and then, a couple of years after that, we'll be able to get the rights to do the piece. But this year, we're doing Lynn Nottage's Intimate Apparel. Right. Julia Matthews is going to direct that. It's a beautiful, bittersweet story of a young African-American seamstress at the turn of the last century, and sort of watching everybody else in her life sort of find their place and moving on, yet she seems stuck in this job. She makes these beautiful garments, but of course she never gets to wear them. It's an absolutely beautiful, poignant story, and and a real character study. The way that Lynn Nottage, that she's so famous for writing these characters that are so rich and dense and speak to the experience. African-American experience. And then we close the season with Gilbert and Sullivan's The Pirates of Penzance. So which I am directing and working with the music department. So the Albright Angels and Main Men are going to join us for this. So they're getting excited. We're, some of them over the summer, but looking at the music and came back saying, "Oh, it really is a lot of fun. It's really cool." I was like, "Yeah, it is." It's a challenge. So so then other members of the music department will join us, instrumentalists, we'll have a really good time throwing it together in a sort of collage style, where sort of staged concert meets happening.
Well, it's all super exciting, and then of course there'll be Green and Growing and student-written and student-directed plays thrown in there as well. And frankly, the members of the public are invited to all of these things. So go to the Albright website, go to the CFA page of the Albright website, call the Center for the Arts, and we'll send you a
season brochure
for the year as well, and look at that. Now, Jeff, of course, you're a distinguished artist in residence in both theater and music.
I am.
Things are happening musically as well.
Absolutely. Well, we're in the department. We're so grateful to welcome Dr. A.J. Merlino, who's going to be the director of music industry studies. That is our sort of burgeoning degree program here that links our music business program, the co-major, with artistry and technology aspects of music writing and creating, performing, to form a full degree. And AJ's a fantastic. Well, again, Reading audiences may be very familiar with him because of his Reading Samba School
Right.
here. And he's a very, very busy, in-demand percussionist. He plays every percussion instrument known to man. And is a very dynamic teacher and mentor to our young students. We're so thrilled to have him with us. So that's a big thing for us this year. And maybe you want to speak to the changes in the
Yes,
orchestra.
boy, we've got strings everywhere. The Albright Chamber Orchestra, which I have been part of, has merged with the Sunday Symphonia, a group that used to meet in Lancaster or Allentown, but is now meeting in Reading, and adult players from communities throughout southeastern Pennsylvania are coming together. And we have a 45 person group directed by Simone Maurer, and so far 2 rehearsals, and we sound really good.
That's great.
And there'll be a concert on November 20th, November 19th at the Highlands, and then November 20th at the Memorial Chapel at Albright.
So that's nice because it gives the students double the opportunity to
Very much
perform,
so.
right? There was always one performance per semester. Here now, now they get 2 audiences per semester, which is really, really great. And then of course we'll still have our symphonic band concerts, and the Big Cat Jazz Ensemble will perform as well. They have one performance per semester. And again, going on the Albright website, or getting a look at some of the brochures and things that we have available to us, we'll give you dates and things. The choir, as always, is so busy. We have 2 performances this year, or this semester, starting with the Pops concert on the 7th, I believe. Saturday the 7th or 8th? Yeah, 7th
Of October.
last year. Of October, right.
Great.
Coming up, and we're already well into rehearsals for that. They actually know 4/5 of their pieces already. So
And
they're
that'll
doing really-
include music sung by the concert choir, by the women's chorale, by the May Men, and the Albright Angels.
Yeah, right, and then their combined group called them Angels, and then there's a holiday concert, which is a tradition sort of here at Albright. There'll be a March concert, which is always sort of a themed concert, and then a sort of celebration of spring concert around the Mother's Day time. So those are such beautiful concerts. Adley Binger, my co-chair of the music department, does such a beautiful job. It's a pleasure and a privilege for me to sit. I'm accompanying the choir these days, and it's such a pleasure for me to watch Adley sculpt the way that Brian might with other objects. It's beautiful to watch the students sort of gel together as this singular group choral sound under his great tutelage.
Yeah, and it's such a wonderful tradition at Albright. I mean, these concerts are attended certainly by parents and by fellow students, but also I think a lot of alums
Oh, sure.
come back, and
Yeah.
certainly members of the community who remember concerts back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s still enjoy these performances
Yeah.
today.
Absolutely.
And those band concerts are all on the same weekend too. So you have a whole kind of collection of music that will take place, as you mentioned, over that weekend of the, I think, 18th, 19th, and 20th in November. That same thing also happens in April. And then we do have another music event though coming up besides the 2 choral concerts, and that's the Music Faculty Showcase, of which you were both participating, I am told, right?
That is true.
Yes.
Yay. So we have Jeff Lentz, our renowned tenor, who will be singing for us. And Dr. Pankratz will hopefully be playing his infamous cello, or famous cello, I should
Yeah,
say.
the Black Beauty.
We always look forward to seeing that. And you'll be joined by some of your other colleagues, some folks that people may not know, like Brian Levering, who plays guitar and teaches guitar here for us.
Jesse Clark.
Jesse Clark. AJ will also be performing, and there'll be an ensemble with Mike Eben, Tim Gross, and some others that are going to join in. Lars Pottiger, soprano Tammy Black will also be performing. So I'm really looking forward to that. That is actually going to be on Sunday, October 23rd at 3 p.m. That is free. That's open to the public as well. That's in Roop Hall. And when we had our last faculty showcase, it was standing room only.
It really was.
So I would get there early. So yeah, for sure.
Now, how many events overall are contained in our brochure?
We actually, I counted them, and we have 154 this year.
Wow.
So we've been right around that the last couple of years. That includes partnerships, though, like we have with WXAC for the Pond Concert Series this September. And I do want to say, at least promote one of those events, which is coming up on the 21st, because that is part of an NEA grant
Yes.
and a partnership that we have with the Reading Symphony Orchestra to bring the group Sweet Plantain here. And that's really going to be exciting. Last week's concert had almost 200 people.
It's a mixture of Latino and classical ensemble music, and we're excited to hear them.
We really are excited, and I suspect that we will probably have more than 200 people at that show. So do look forward to that. And then we also have other events, as you mentioned, in fashion,
Right.
annual fashion forum that's going to happen, let's see, November 5th, all day. Our guest speaker is Elizabeth L. Klein, who's the author of Overdressed, The Shockingly High Cost of Cheap Fashion, which should be actually a little controversial. So
Yeah.
we'll see how that goes. Our international film series also kicks off very shortly with Mike Kuchar, who's been a longtime guest of Professor Adelstein's. That's going to happen on Tuesday, October 4th, and there'll be a series of those that run through the rest of the semester.
Great. Great. Yeah, the Kuchars, the two brothers had come here for decades.
That's
and,
right.
Mike is coming on his own. But
Yeah.
no, it's a special relationship.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we've got
And
lots
there
of
will be
great
several
things.
fashion shows as well that people can see. Will the Club Vogue show in December, and then the fashion showcase in May.
Yeah, I have not got a confirmation yet, but usually Club Vogue does something there at the end of the fall semester, and certainly the fashion show will happen again at the end of the spring semester for the department. We'll actually have two shows this year because we have moved it to the theater
Right.
to accommodate the larger audience. We actually are going to split and have two shows, and I believe some alum are going to come back and show with us as well, which will be pretty exciting.
That's great.
Yeah.
Great. So really all the arts are alive and thriving.
Yeah, the one we haven't mentioned is dance, but
That's
we
right.
do have two student organizations that really specialize in that. That's Zion Step Team and then also the Albright Dance Team.
Right.
However, on campus, we were really pleased last year and surprised to see the International Student Association step up, if you will, and really cut loose. They really amazed us at Air Bands, and I'm hoping that they'll come back pretty strong this year and be part of the two showcases, the end of the semester showcases that the other two teams do, and that will continue as a tradition. It's really exciting.
As we know, Newsweek magazine cited Albright for being one of the most artistic campuses in America, and I think part of that has to do with the support and interest that all students show in all the other arts. And so it's not simply that you're off in your dance studio and not doing anything else. The dance team attends the Zion concerts and vice versa and performs on the stage with them. The students involved in the theater go to the gallery openings and the basketball games, and vice versa. So it's not simply that we have very talented students, which we do, but the level of mutual support and interest is really a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that I'm really pleased with is there's a group that's emerged these last couple of years that have been involved, in particular with a project you mentioned earlier at Olivet Boys and Girls Club, and that's
right.
A-Step.
Artists striving to end poverty.
Yeah, exactly. So they do a monthly showcase as well. That's a fundraiser for Olivet. They do it on campus. It is open to the public. It really is kind of a variety talent show, so people get up and sing. They perform improvisational skits or short theater pieces. They did Art Jam to kind of kick off the season this year, and there was even a little mini fashion show in there. So it is really something that I'm glad to see going, because that is part of a national organization as well.
Yes.
And is for a good cause that is benefiting our local community.
And the former leader, Alexis, and the current president, Nate Rothermel, are doing just
They're a powerhouse.
remarkable work with that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And we can mention the Albright Improv as well, that Less Than and
Absolutely.
Equal To in Soviet Purgatory.
Yeah.
Short form and long form are thriving.
Absolutely.
And
There'll be a festival again. You know,
Right,
there's a
February.
regional festival, improv festival that's going to be hosted by Albright. That's become sort of a wonderful annual tradition.
And there will be Albright Idol competitions as
Right.
well in the productions of Lion Records.
Right,
And
and the
music
Music
festival.
Business Forum then in the spring, which was an all-day event, really wonderful pre-professional event for the students. That it was interesting going last year. Not just the music business students going, but a lot of other students who were interested in the topic,
Absolutely.
came and were surprised how it spoke to them as well. But I think just really quickly, I think that's part of the genius of the building of the Center for the Arts at our school. That's sort of unique, is that all of those programs are housed within this one structure, and it invites collaboration in a way that's almost impossible on other campuses when everybody's spread out, all over the place. We're very fortunate.
Right. And it's clear that elan is going to continue because the class of 2020 has some wonderful spirits in it.
Absolutely.
And we're really excited to see them grow over the next 4 years as well.
Nice.
Well, we hope you share in this. As you can see, we're pretty jazzed about the coming year, and we hope to see you on campus frequently during 2016, 2017. We'll see you again on another edition of the Albright Scholar in October. Thanks. Good night.
If you listen to the critics, if you listen to your own doubts and call them reasons, you may never find the drive to go back to school. But a little change in direction, a new perspective, and the right program may make your successful new path a reality. The Accelerated Degree Program at Albright College. Start your degree or complete your degree 1 night a week in as little as 2 years. Albright College, a different way of thinking.